All right, so this week saw the release of Kick-Ass, the, if we're to believe all the solicitation hype, the eagerly awaited new Icon series. What was it, Millar World Phase 3 or 4, whatever it is.
I think Phase 3.
Phase 3. You know, big, huge, nobody's ever done this book before type of book. So we're going to do a little mini discussion / review to talk about it.
I just think someone's head's too big for their shoulders.
But, who could that be?
I don't know. Were we just talking about him?
Yeah.
Perhaps. I don't know.
So, I guess the first thing is, leading into this series, there was a lot of hype. Like, super hype. And then Millar kind of explained it, saying, well, there's no marketing budget for an Icon book. It's independently published, so I need to provide all the marketing. So the first thing they did was... I don't know if you guys know this, but they did a YouTube video of some kid beating up some hoods. They released it online, and they're like, this is the real world kind of thing happening.
Yeah.
And Lying in the Gutters kind of ran in, it kind of like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then he did like this poster program like you mentioned in the back of the book, and that kind of thing. So it kind of got a little bit of like buzz going, you know, outside of the hyperbolic solicitation text.
Me personally, I already thought when I read the description of the comic, I thought the concept alone was enough hype. I don't think the egotistical man behind the scenes really needed to do all the hyping himself, because I thought already it was going to be a great comic.
Really
just
strong
from the
concept. Really strong concept.
Pretty original, I think, because I don't think it's ever been done before.
In the way he's doing it, no.
Definitely not.
No, because I mean, everybody says, "Oh, real world superheroes," but he's actually doing it in a way I don't think anyone's done.
In the sense that nothing has ever happened.
Yeah.
Like, you have a kid that's going out there questioning. You know, it's funny. You know, like, people always do things because they're either brainwashed and they're doing things. But he's like, we have so much influences between movies and comics. How come no one's ever like picked up a costume and just at least tried to be a superhero or something?
And, that's actually a good point.
Yeah, that's why I love this book, because it's so original. Because like, this is the book that if you, the viewer / reader, were given a contract at Marvel to write a book, this is the book you'll end up like writing, like very roughly so, and it'll probably go through like 1,000 edits through Quesada, so you can have his way. But roughly, this is the book that I think I would write too. It's just like, yeah, this kid's gonna get the crap beat out of him by some kids playing basketball, making a bad deal, and it's just not gonna work out at all.
Yeah, but I mean, I like Eddie's point that he made in the book is, how come nobody's ever done this?
Yeah.
But because there's people out there that like put on Spider-Man costumes and run around and do stupid stuff, but nobody's ever like tried to fight crime wearing a costume.
No. And I think that's probably why it's kick-ass. I'm just saying, But no.
But so so we would kind of like go through the concept and everything. But what did you think of the? So like the concept, we can agree, super strong, great idea, fantastic, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Now, what about the execution?
I have to see where it's going, because it's set up where it could be something great and something really effed up could happen, where you're just like, all right, this comic's pretty kick-ass. But my point is, like, this issue also kind of leaves you like, I kind of feel like it's not going to go down that road. You know what I mean? Did you get that feeling?
I didn't expect it to end as badly as it did.
No, I felt like, wow, that should have happened at the end, and now I'm really kind of lost to where they could go with it.
But yet he's narrating it. The main character is narrating it, so you know that there's more going.
Oh yeah, of course, because they show you it's kind of a flashback.
Yeah.
It's like from the beginning. There's a scene where he's in a situation, obviously, and he goes, "Let me bring you, where it all began." Basically, it's a retelling story in a sense.
Yeah. Roughly, writing-wise, I think it's executed very well. The first stage is like, I got people's attention. And I really got their attention by the end of the book. So what do we It's like, in art-wise, you can really see a difference for once in Ramita's artwork. It's definitely the inking and coloring. For once, it's a little different because I'm used to Ramita stuff. It's just like...
Well, it's mature rated, too. You gotta think, like, he's never drawn anything this graphic before either.
Yeah. So, and you know what I love about Ramita? The kids actually look like they're teenagers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, the characters that look individual.
Yeah.
Almost a little too much, like, there's kind of the characters of, like, oh, that's a weird kid, oh, that's a fat kid, But at least they look like individuals and they look unique.
Yeah.
You
definitely see a character in each one, It's like, it's interesting that you brought that up, because I kind of like, not that I was going to bring it up now, but like, I guess subconsciously I thought that while I was reading that. I was like, wow, like, every character is kind of unique in their own way,
And like the girls looked real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of artists have the trouble, they're like, oh, whatever, like pictures they have on their computer and they draw their girls to look like that.
Yeah.
Like, Romina, they look like high school girls.
Yeah, because they didn't have boobs or an ass. Basically.
So, Lewis, I actually want to go back a point and disagree with your assessment of like how well this first issue was. Leaving all the concept and everything behind, I didn't really like the first issue as a first issue. Like, I don't want to have any puns here or anything, but if we're going to take Wanted as sort of like the high watermark for this, because that was really where he did his independent stuff, and it was like, wow, and everybody,
everybody
like, wow,
loved it.
Like it or not, you just kind of like accept, wow, this is some good stuff. When I read the first issue of Wanted, it felt like I got punched in the face. This was something, and again, I'm not trying to go for puns here, but it was like that intense, that different. One issue, bang, I knew I was going to like it. This book, it didn't have that effect on me. I don't know what it is. It was a little too cutesy at times.
I guess for me it's the dialogue, this is what like the real, like how kids would talk and stuff, and it's just like, if this could be like really set in real life. That's why I like things like more real to life. Like,
but is the kid supposed to be like a normal kid? Because I mean, he likes the Goo Goo Dolls and like
I don't like.
That's another thing. That's another thing I didn't realize. Like, before I actually read the issue, and just from all the hype around it, I didn't realize this was like, I don't know if he's in middle school. Like, I don't know about you guys.
I
want to say
high school or middle school.
I want to say like freshman.
But that's the thing, like you said, it goes from like cutesy and whatever. I can't really tell if it's like, okay, he's in his later years of high school, or I thought maybe it was gonna be high school or college before going in. I thought he was gonna be like like late teens. He seems kind of young.
Age,
no, right? They don't, because they got like the whole Peter Parker angle, kind of like, I'm not the class geek, but I'm not the class jock. I'm the guy who exists. I like that line. I just exist.
Yeah, like he's 15 or 16 or something, like a little too young to really, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of felt
young enough to think that he's invincible.
Oh yeah. Of course that makes sense, but like that's just from the writing, I can't really figure out where it's at. But
I mean, you get to the point where like things like some of the dialogue was like a little too cutesy. I mean, I won't even like harp on it for like some of his like stuff he liked was a little.
I think that just showed how much of a the kid was just kind of a loser, Like, let's
okay, it works if that's the point. He's like kind of a normal kid, but not really.
Yeah.
He's kind of like he's a normal human being, but he's not exactly a normal teenager, I guess you would say. He's kind of like an outcast. He's kind of like I got my own views on things. I'm young.
Because they made it up like he was a big comic geek.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing about the comic geek, like. What was he saying about like Joss Whedon? And
they're talking about Astonishing X-Men stuff, and how like he thinks his run on X-Men is brilliant. So it's basically a big smooch in the butt to Joss Whedon from Mark Millar.
Yeah, because he even says that it poops on Buffy, and then the kid says, "And you know how much of a Buffy fan I am," and I'm just like, well, whatever you like, I guess. But.
I mean, I guess on a whole, I'll give it a positive.
Yeah.
Because it reads like the first chapter of something. It reads like the first chapter of a graphic novel to me. Wanted actually stood enough on its own that had a really good cliffhanger. It kind of read as the first issue of a kick-ass comic.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But this one, like, I want to read more, but I just don't know.
My feel on it is, obviously it's obviously a setup, so like the concept alone has already grabbed me, so I want to see where it goes, So, I mean, it's too good of a concept, even with, like, kind of a weak first issue, if that's how you feel about it, that, like, even you're not going to be able to, all right, next one comes out, that's going to be a first read, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I just kind of hope, like, I think this book's going to end the way, especially the way Mark Millar wants, It's going to be like, it's not gonna be how you expect, or I expect, how you expect, or just any of the fans.
It's just gonna be a messed up.
It's gonna be like a real ending. It's gonna be like, wow, this is ending. The ending to the book sucked. But it's like, what do you expect? This is like a real life book. It's like.
But he also said that this isn't just one mini anymore.
Yeah, he also said
that's going to be this ongoing.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I first read it, like I didn't know that until after I read it. I looked up online, but. I'm like, how is this gonna be a mini, like a 6-issue or 5-issue?
5 or 6, I forget.
Yeah, I was like, how is it gonna be just a mini series? I'm like, there has to be more to it or something. Otherwise, it's not gonna end well. I felt either he goes to juvie or
dies.
Ends up dead.
So it almost seems like it's gonna be like a series of minis. A series of books.
Kind of like installments, like the Ultimates was.
Yeah, like kind of whatever happens at the end of this story arc is gonna make a chain of events that's going to happen throughout how many ever story arcs he does.
So it's almost like he's starting this like Millar-verse.
Yeah.
the Lord of the Rings from Mark Millar.
It wouldn't surprise me with...
It's like, he's the... so let's just say this. Here's a pull quote. Mark Millar is the next Stan Lee.
Vote now at VariantEdition.com.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this up. So what are your overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts? I thought it was pretty good. I'll give it like an 8.5, honestly, because just for the sheer fact of how great the concept is alone. That, you know, I'm being biased, I guess, in a sense, because I love the concept.
No,
it's never been done before.
Yeah, it's great. I go the same thing, 8.5, because it's just like, this is the book I totally would have wrote to if I was an independent creator or working for Marvel, and this is like put on a different imprint. But this is the fan book. This is the geek boy book. I'm a geek. I'm a boy. This is my book.
I think I'd only maybe give it a 7.
Drum sound.
And I think I'd give it a 7 just because I love the concept. I think it's a really good concept. You know, people have done real world superheroes before, but never actually the way he's doing it. So I'll give him that. But as the first issue, it didn't. I don't know if it didn't grab me.
Punch in the face.
It didn't punch me in the face. It didn't kick me in the ass. You know, it. Second issue, I may say, wow, okay, great. I needed that second issue to go. So that's why it's, 7, I think, is what I give it. You know, we'll go from there. But yeah,
definitely worth picking up.
I want, and that's the thing. I recommend it.
Yeah.
And I want to read more.
Definitely.
You know, I just thought as a first issue might have been a little weak.
Yeah.
So pick up Kick-Ass now in stores at Rawway Comics, Classic Comics.
Classic Comics, yes.
Where we shoot this and every episode. Check classiccomics.com for more details on how to get up to how much?
20% off your comic books, which is a lot when you read as much as we do.
And I know that from just being a customer. I'm just saying.
So, all right. So this is probably going to end up being this it for this episode.
Yeah.
So you know how to watch us. VariantEdition.com. We've got links to everything else. You know, the important ways to watch us. And we'll see you later in the week with a regular episode.
Peace.